Now, Suspect from AGB is considered one of the best UK drill rappers in the scene, and is rise to the upper echelon of the rap scene that formed mammoth barriers between the police force and street guys was miraculous to watch. It seemed at one point he couldn't lose, but sadly it was miraculous to see his fall from grace as well, and it serves as a warning to aspiring rappers and GMs alike that you cannot pick both paths, you either choose one or the other. Now, Tarek Kennedy Monterio, better known as Suspect or Sus, is a British rapper and part of AGB or Active Gang, and they were based out of the Agar Grove estate within Camden Town, and his set was known to war with 51st, that was made up from QC, Peckwater and Cumbo. Now, it's well documented that the GMs from both sides at once upon a time were actually friends, attending the same schools and parties together, so they know each other personally, how that person acted, their innermost secrets, and that made the war between the two sets that more solemn, more serious. To think it could all happen over a stolen watch back in 2017. Now, since Mez apparently had his watch stolen, that friendship between 51st and Active Gang had dissolved completely. Think about it for a moment. Questions went from what time are we going to the party to how do you obliterate the very person you'd go fetch a bag of chips and 4 hot wings with after school. Go literally from friend to foe, to wanting to erase someone from this very world, all the while trying to evade capture. Now, the most prolific and documented case regarding the AGB and 51st saga was the Alex Smith case. At the time, Alex Smith, who went by the name Culprit and was part of Cumbo drill group, was only 16 years old. He hadn't even reached adulthood. But on August 12, 2019, Alex Smith was fatally knifed on the Regent's Park estate in Camden. Now, Alex Smith had a bright future as a footballer, playing for Southampton. Now, on the night of the stabbing, Suspect, S-Wavy and other members had commandeered 2 stolen cars and plastered them with fake plates, and they dedicated their night to carry out a ride-out, looking for rivals. Suspect and S-Wavy, along with mates, had found Alex Smith, who was also a part-time drill rapper, and as I said, part of the 51st set, leaving the restaurant, but Suspect and S-Wavy were armed with weapons, and they chased after Culprit and friends. Now, with all that adrenaline rushing, Culprit ran to an estate on the North London side of Euston Road and attempted to lose sight of Suspect and his mates. However, he was found, and of course his life ended on Munster Square. Now, apparently, Suspect's weapon of choice was a short sword. Now, it was rumoured that Suspect and his mates laughed about what they had done before they made their escape. The Metropolitan Police quickly launched an investigation, and the general public began to demand justice for a 16-year-old boy that had a bright future as a footballer. Now, first police began to track down the stolen cars, next they scrolled through thousands of hours worth of CCTV, and then they began to apply pressure to people of interest, all the while they built up the case. Now, all the while Suspect, S-Wavy and Arif Bayomi went on social media to allude to the crime. The police just sat back and watched. Now, what people constantly fail to believe is, once you post something on the net, online, even if you delete it, or you say you didn't mean it, it's infinite, it's always going to be there, and it's going to be used as evidence. Police, by using CCTV, was able to pinpoint Arif Bayomi at the scene of the crime in Munster Square. They were then able to track his movements to a hotel, where for some strange reason he posted himself under the influence, showing a lack of remorse by giggling. Surprisingly, Arif did not deny the charges. What his defence team did was just attempt to say he had ADHD and a low attention span and low IQ, so it should lessen his intent to end another person's life. But Arif was sentenced to life anyway, for a minimum of 21 years. Now, Suspect and S-Wavy probably thought the case would be over because the Metropolitan Police were able to hold someone responsible, so therefore Alex Smith's family probably had some form of closure. Now, we know S-Wavy and Suspect had boarded a flight to Africa, where they continued to post pics and videos of their vacation without a care in the world. I mean, they were going bait-face. Now, while back in the UK, police still continued the investigation, and the mass media even reported that they believed Suspect and S-Wavy, labelled as persons of interest, had fled the country. On fleeing the country, Detective Jamie Stevenson said the following: Alex was targeted by a rival gang, which Ibrahim was part of. The 6 gang members acted together to chase down Alex Smith with fatal consequences. All of those who were present in those 2 vehicles, regardless of whether they got out and chased on foot or remained in the cars, were party to his M. The 3 males who carried out the actual attack on Alex and the driver of the Fiesta have not been traced, but police says that inquiries were ongoing in a bid to find them. Suspect and S-Wavy did not take notice or heed the warning. So, in January 2022, suspect and Eswavy were arrested in Kenya and extradited back into the UK. The two identified as suspect and Eswavy were arrested by transitional and organised crime detectives in Kilimani, Nairobi, following intelligence leads. Now, the Kenyan law enforcement released a statement, which happened to be on Monday, the 31st of January of this year, confirming the extradition, saying the two fugitives were arrested by detectives last Wednesday and have finally been extradited to face trial in the UK. The Kenyan Directorate of Investigations went on to state that the arrests were made in connection with the murder of 16-year-old Alex Smith from London. The two rappers hid in the upmarket suburbs of Nairobi to avoid detention in the UK. And, of course, one of the rappers was Tariq, who, of course, goes by the name of Sus or Suspect, and he was in possession of a fake Somali ID and also a dagger at the time of the arrest. Now, of course, the intelligence leads was the constant social media posts, engaging with fans, showing Camden Town and then places of interest and then going back abroad to Kenya, living his best life and going bait-face. The most ironic thing about the whole incident is Suspect was on the cusp of superstardom. The fact that he was able to drop a debut album, he was on a run, and he made jokes of the fact, helped people gravitate towards the 24-year-old, but he couldn't get off social media. To be honest, like a lot of other rappers, he craved that attention. He wanted to know what people thought of him. That ego complex is a dangerous thing because it releases endorphins and people constantly chase that high. They need to feel validated, and of course, that was his ultimate demise. And now he's in H&P. Stay safe, safe.